Hi there. So the cold continues, and I can only apologise for coughing all the way through this. Today, quite excitingly, we have also a giveaway. So you're going to win a copy of the book and some chocolate. Um, and that is from the lovely author of No Fourth River, Christine Clayfield. And it's a really unusual book because it's a true story. So it's Christine writing about her life. Um, and it's very emotional. It's a very difficult book in some ways to read because her childhood is just a patchwork of control and an abusive father and a kind of a mother who obviously sees this going on. It's not sexual abuse, it's kind of control and power and physical, very physically violent. Um, Neglect, I would say, a massive amount of neglect, and it also comes to present day. So it's really Christine reflecting back on her life experience and how that sort of the impact that had on her decisions and choices. So it's quite it's not a big shock that she moved from an abusive relationship with her father to pick somebody completely inappropriate for her first husband, just as a a young woman desperate for affection, desperate for to please, all the things that she's not been successful at growing up, because of not because of her own fault, obviously, and so she then finds herself in a very physically abusive marriage that I mean, she nearly dies. It's quite a shocking story, but there is this reflecting back, and so we know that she's remarried. We know that there's a man in her life now who's this wonderfully positive force, and that's the sort of redemption. That's the glory, really, of the story is that we know that there's something lovely is going to happen in her life. I have to say that she's very, very honest. She's very honest about all the aspects. Excuse my children screaming. She's very honest about all of the aspects of her life, which is very powerful. But there were some there were some moments in the book where she's very honest about, for example, her sex life. And they have children, and I kind of thought, oh, I wonder what he felt reading that about himself. But it's lovely. It's very warm. It's very open and honest. It's about reality. I don't know if you can demand twins from the universe and they arrive. I don't know if that was luck or judgment, but I'm so thrilled, having had this really appalling childhood. I'm so thrilled that she was able to find joy and peace and a really positive relationship, adult relationship, because I think not everyone does get there, and that's a really beautiful thing. It's lovely. I mean, it's not something I would ordinarily. It's not something I probably would have picked up. I got it through the book collective, and I was a bit, it's not really my thing. I don't really sort of want to read about abuse. Who does? And they said, oh no, it's very positive and it's very powerful. So I said, oh, I'll give it a shot then. And I'm really glad I've read it, because it is a very moving book, and it's very beautiful in lots of ways. And it was interesting. It was interesting. Her relationship with her mother I found very interesting. Her mother also receives, her mother is heavily controlled throughout her life. But her mother, we think, I guess she never really got to discuss it with her, but her mother sort of takes on the role of, they were a very, very wealthy family. And she sort of thought, you know what, you kids all, apart from this awful situation at home, you did all have the opportunity for a brilliant education. They travelled, they ate well in terms of variety of food and nutrition and that kind of thing. And I think she felt, had she left, the situation would have been better in terms of that manipulative father not being there, but not necessarily better in the sort of everyday sense of life. They all wore beautiful designer clothes, they had cars. I think the mother felt that the devil maybe, I don't know. I suspect she was pretty her self-esteem, I imagine, was pretty wrecked by the whole experience anyway. But as a mum, I did find that quite challenging, how you could watch someone hurt your children and not immediately take them away. I found her mother a really enigmatic figure, because I couldn't quite work out. There was sympathy, but there was also, I also felt frustration, because actually, you know, you could have got those kids out of there. So it's intriguing, and it raises questions, and that's the best kind of book, isn't it? The one that makes you think about it afterwards, and the one you want to talk about to friends with. They're the best books to read. So it's a non-fiction. I'll show you again. It's an unusual cover. It's called No Fourth River, and if you want to enter our giveaway, you can win a copy. Yay!